Well, welcome back. And so I'm just doing a few little tips about this Derwentwater picture, and just sort of thinking as a beginner and what you can do and what you can't do. I often get asked, can you put extra layers of paint on? Yes, you can. With watercolour, you do start pale, and then you can put extra strength on top. It's quite difficult to take out, but you can take out. So, I'll show you different little techniques along the way. What I thought I'd do is just show you how to paint these little posts in the water. So I'm going to get a pale burnt sienna first, which this is pale burnt sienna. So I've just added more water to make it a pale shade. If I don't add too much water, that's the strength of colour. But by using more water, I just make it a nice pale tonal colour. So I'm going to paint this onto the posts. I'm just using about a number 6 brush. Or it's about number 8. Let's have a look. 6. So just painting this on quite wet. And then the secret is so that's still wet, nice and pale. And then I'm going to put some darker colour. So I'm going to use the burnt sienna again, but mixing small, not as big. So by mixing small, I've got more strength in the colour. So I'm just using some of the cobalt blue and a touch of that burnt sienna to get a nice sort of dark. And then thinking that I've got light direction on this side, so I'm just going to paint in, just touching in to one side, sort of nearly painting into the dry side and letting the paint just go through onto the other side. Easy as that. I'm going to let that dry, and then what we want to do is just paint a little bit more into the foreground, so giving it a little bit more definition. So I'm just adding a little bit more of the cobalt blue again. It's going on to dry paper, it's not wet. And then I'm going to pick up a little bit of the colour that I used to do the posts, the darker colour. And maybe have a little bit of that, little bit reflection just coming down. Instead of just painting straight down, think about your water. Think about the ripples coming through. A little bit there. And then I'm going to just take a little bit of this dark up the side of the post. And you can move your paper around. You don't have to think that you're always painting this way. If you find that you can actually paint a little bit easier in this direction, then do. So I'm just painting just a touch onto there, just a little bit onto that bit going up. And it's still wet, it's just blending in lovely. And you can see that we suddenly have a few little posts, and as simple as that. So that's another little tip for you for watercolour, and it's just softened through, and it's just letting the water and the paint do the magic. That's what I think watercolour is about. So I'm just going to now remove my tape. This is nearly the nice bit. You've got a nice little edge around here. And there you have a Derwentwater. It just needs a little signature, which you can do with a pencil, or you can do with paint. Sometimes I just pop it in with a touch of a pencil just in this little corner. You could actually sign it as well if you wanted, if you keep this little section of white paper. And there you go, you've got your finished little watercolour, just using 2 shades really. We've got cobalt blue and we've got a little bit of burnt sienna in the posts, and a little bit, you keeping the white of the paper. This is important, is keeping lighter areas as well. And I hope you've enjoyed these little tips on watercolour painting.